Ciaconna is already in game, so today I'll be making a pre-release guide on how to build and play Ciaconna. Ciaconna is a pistol resonator, so she will need the pistol materials. And besides this, they already revealed all materials needed to level her up. For the boss materials, she will need the Dragon of Dirge, which is located over here. For her flowers, she will need the Golden Fleece, which are found right around here. And for her boss materials, she'll want none other than Fleur de Lis, which is located right here. And finally, she'll want the Tidal Residue, which is dropped by certain Renacita enemies, and are most easily farmable in the Avinodium. To level her up to level 90 with 2 talents to level 10, as well as all minor nodes and inherent skills, you will need these materials. The main focus for Ciaconna is to get enough Concerto energy and user liberation. So, first, let's see how she builds up Concerto energy. Ciaconna has a 4 basic attack string, with the last basic attack having a couple effects. First, she will apply 1 stack of arrow erosion to the enemy, and second, Ciaconna will start a solo concert. The solo concert buff is quite important, since it will grant 24% arrow damage bonus to the entire team. Luckily, Ciaconna can get this buff quite easily, since if her basic attack 1, 2 or 3 gets interrupted by dodging, she can continue the string, and when her last basic attack is interrupted, a clone will finish it and enter solo concert. If she doesn't get interrupted however, she can still enter solo concert and make a clone to continue it. And finally, Ciaconna will get 1 forte stack from her last basic attack. Now, for her resonance skill. It is a simple dash forward, just like Gion's, which can also be cast in midair. This dash will apply 1 arrow erosion to the target, whilst allowing you to start your basic attack string from basic attack 2. When your skill interrupts a basic attack, heavy attack, mid-air attack or solo concert, she will generate a clone. But only when Ciaconna uses her skill whilst interrupting her 4th basic attack or a solo concert, the clone will start or continue the solo concert. Now for her forte circuit, just like Shorekeeper, this is here just for some extra Concerto energy, crowd control and, in Ciaconna's case, more damage. When she has 3 stacks of her forte, she can use her heavy attack to suck all enemies in whilst gaining 25 Concerto energy. There are 2 ways of gaining forte stacks. The first is by using your intro skill, and the second is by hitting your 4th basic attack. Now for her Resonance Liberation, Singer's Triple Cadenza. After a massive nuke, Ciaconna will enter her Recital mode. When in Recital mode, she will turn into a musical quick time event. Whilst in this mode, she can press either A or D at the specific timing to deal damage and apply Spectral Frazzle or Arrow Erosion. And don't worry about getting interrupted, because Ciaconna cannot be interrupted and takes 50% less damage in her liberation. When you swap out, Ciaconna will continue applying the last selected negative effect, as well as the damage. And if you instantly swap out without doing a single beat, she will apply Arrow Erosion. These hits will deal damage and apply effects a total of 20 times. And whilst this is active, she will apply the solo concert buff. Finally, you can end her liberation early by pressing her liberation button again if you're on her, or after you swapped off, you can swap back to end her liberation. Now, we have arrived at her intro and outro skills. Her intro skill will do a bit of arrow damage and apply 1 arrow erosion stack on the enemy, after which she can start from her 3rd basic attack. And her outro skill will increase the arrow erosion damage dealt by the active resonator by 100% for 30 seconds. And finally, we got our inherent skills. The first will grant Ciaconna a shield worth of 100% of her max HP for 4 seconds after casting her liberation. And the second will increase her forte circuit's damage by 30%. For her leveling recommendations, I recommend leveling her forte and liberation first, after which you could level her basic attacks and resonance skill. And if you really like Ciaconna, you could level her intro skill, although that is not really recommended. Ciaconna mainly deals heavy attack and liberation damage, so her pistol pool is quite small. First up, you have her signature weapon, the Woodland Area. I couldn't find any official information about the pistol, but you could imagine it's quite a bit stronger than the other options. Next up, we have the Static Mist. With 587 base attack and 24.3% crit rate, it'll be a really great option for Ciaconna. And with the passive buffing energy recharge by 12.8% as well as the incoming Resonator's attack by 10%, you almost cannot go wrong with them, unless the main DPS doesn't scale with attack percent. For the free-to-play options, I'm only going to recommend one pistol, and that is none other than the Romance in Farewell. You can easily R5 this weapon, and when you do, you'll get a weapon with 463 base attack, 18.2% attack, and a passive that increases your attack by a maximum of 32% when attacking an enemy with a negative effect. As for her echo set, at the moment she'll want none other than the Gusts of Vulcan. The Gusts of Vulcan grants 10% arrow damage bonus as a 2-piece, with the 5-piece increasing her arrow damage bonus by 30%, whilst increasing her teammates' arrow damage by 15% after inflicting arrow erosion. For the active echo, she'll want to use Fleur de Lis. Fleur de Lis grants 10% arrow damage bonus just by having it equipped. Another set you could use is the Moonlit Clouds if your main DPS is an attack scaler. You can't go wrong with the Moonlit Clouds since it grants 10% ER for the 2-piece and a 22.5% attack buff to the incoming Resonator. And when you have the Impermanence Heron as your active echo, if you use it, your incoming Resonator will gain an extra 12% damage boost. For both of these sets, you want to run the standard 4-3-3-1-1, with the 4 cost being crit rate or damage, the 3 cost being arrow damage, and the 1 cost being attack percent. For the substats, you want crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, energy recharge, heavy attack damage, liberation damage, and flat attack couldn't hurt. Ciaconna is in a special place at the moment, since she is great but won't replace anyone in the existing teams. You could run her with Gian, but Mortefi does grant better buffs. The same goes for Alto and Sanwa. A team that could work would be Zani, Ciaconna and Spectral Rover, since Zani can still gain Blaze during her liberation. But for now, it seems that a certain Resonator will rely or greatly benefit from Ciaconna, and with a bit of luck, she will be released fairly soon. For her rotations, you want to intro her in, use her basic attack 3 and, when you're casting basic attack 4, cancel it with a skill. Then, use basic attack 2, 3 and 4, after which you can use your Forte Circuit, Liberation and swap out. Ciaconna's sequences don't look too bad. Sequence 1 grants her immunity to interruption for 3 seconds after casting her Resonance skill, whilst it also increases her attack by 35% when casting a basic attack. Sequence 2 will increase the entire team's arrow damage by 40% during her liberation. This is a really good sequence, making her a competitive or an even better option than the existing arrow DPS's supports. Sequence 3 will grant her an additional Forte stack on basic attack 4, whilst also granting an additional charge on her skill. The sequence will make her rotations quite a bit faster. Sequence 4 will let Ciaconna ignore 45% of the defense of the enemy when dealing damage with her Forte Circuit or Liberation. Sequence 5 grants her 40% Liberation damage bonus, and she will also reduce the damage taken by Resonators in the range of her Liberation by 30%. And finally, Sequence 6 will let Ciaconna or her clone deal 220% arrow damage around her when in her solo concert mode. This is counted as Liberation damage. I think Ciaconna will be a great unit, although a bit niche. If you're pulling Ciaconna, make sure to watch my complete guide when she gets released. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, may you recommend the video on the screen right now. I appreciate you all. Bye bye.